Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the truly incredible life of Visakha. Now, she's one of the most important women in all of Buddhist history, and her story really grapples with something big, bridging the gap between having enormous wealth and achieving deep, profound spirituality. Every now and then, you come across a person in history whose life is more than just a story. It's a lesson. It's a kind of blueprint for how to handle timeless challenges with real wisdom and grace. And Visakha, she is absolutely one of those people.
And her life tackles a question that feels just as relevant today as it must have been 2,500 years ago. Is it actually possible to be successful in the world, with all the wealth and family responsibilities that come with it, and also find genuine spiritual depth? Well, Visakha's entire life is basically a powerful yes to that question. And her story kicks off with a spiritual awakening at an age when most of us are just figuring out basic math. She was only 7 years old.
Okay, so this first chapter of her life is, frankly, just astonishing. It starts with a spiritual accomplishment that's incredibly rare for anyone, let alone a child.
7. That's how old Visakha was when she met the Buddha for the first time. Her father, who was very wealthy, had invited him to their home. For Visakha, that single meeting, it changed absolutely everything.
After hearing just one sermon from the Buddha, Visakha attained the state of Sotapanna. So what does that mean? It means she became a stream enterer. She literally stepped onto the path to nirvana, and it's an irreversible path. It's a guarantee of reaching full enlightenment. For a 7-year-old, that is just unheard of.
So how is that even possible? Well, according to Buddhist teachings, this wasn't some kind of random fluke. It was the result of parami, spiritual perfections, good karma, that she had built up over countless lifetimes. Her mind was already primed and ready. So as Visakha gets older, she marries into another very powerful family. But this new life, it came with a huge challenge that was going to put all of her wisdom to the ultimate test.
Right. She married a man whose father was named Megara, another very rich merchant. But here's the catch. Megara's family followed a different religious path, and they were not fans of Buddhism. So right away, you can see the potential for some serious conflict.
And that conflict came to a head in a big way. One day, her father-in-law, Megara, was hosting monks from his own tradition. Visakha saw them and quietly said to herself that Megara was eating old food. He overheard her, totally misunderstood, and just exploded with rage. He accused her of insulting his guests and demanded she get out of his house.
And this right here is where you see her absolute genius. Instead of panicking, she calmly explained what she actually meant. Eating old rice, she said, had nothing to do with food. It was a metaphor for someone who's just coasting on their past good deeds instead of making new merit. And eating ashes, that was about chasing after things that have no real substance, unlike the eternal truth of the Dharma.
Her explanation just completely floored her father-in-law. He was so blown away by her wisdom that he didn't just convert to Buddhism on the spot, he gave her the highest title of respect he could think of. Megara's mother. He was basically calling this young woman his own spiritual teacher. So now, with her family converted and her place in the household totally secure, Visakha became the person she's most famous for today, the greatest female patron in Buddhist history. Her most famous act of generosity was the construction of the Buppharam monastery. This was a massive project, which she paid for by selling an incredibly valuable jeweled headdress. And look at this timeline. It shows her total dedication. The whole thing was finished in just 9 months. Incredible. But her generosity wasn't just about big, flashy projects. It was systematic. It was lifelong. She actually went to the Buddha and asked for permission to make these 8 specific vows, basically setting up a whole social safety net for the monks and nuns. It covered everything from food and robes to medicine and special care for the sick. It was a complete support system. But Visakha's life has one more really powerful lesson for us. This one came when she was much older, and it illustrates a core idea in Buddhist philosophy perfectly. Visakha lived to be 120 years old. I mean, can you imagine? She outlived many of her own children and saw generations of her family grow up. But even at that age, her commitment to the Dharma was as strong as ever.
So one day, the Buddha pointed out this fascinating paradox about her. Because of all the incredible merit she had built up, her outer appearance, her form, was still as youthful and vibrant as a young girl's. But her physical body was still subject to the laws of nature. She was frail. She actually needed to use her hands to push herself up off the ground.
Her very body became a living, breathing teaching on anicca, or impermanence. Her life showed that while good karma can bring amazing results like beauty and long life, nothing, absolutely nothing, can escape the universal law of change. The body, like everything else, eventually wears out.
So when you put it all together, what does the extraordinary life of Visakha really teach us? Let's sum it all up.
This table really captures her journey perfectly. You have the spiritual purity she achieved as a child, then the patient wisdom she used to navigate that tough family situation, then the unparalleled generosity of her adult life, and finally, the deep understanding of impermanence she literally embodied in her old age. Every stage shows a different side of her greatness.
When it comes right down to it, Visakha's legacy is this powerful, undeniable proof. She showed that you can be deeply involved in the world, with family, with money, with responsibilities, and use that position not as something that gets in the way of your spiritual path, but as the very vehicle for it.
And that leaves us with a pretty potent question. Visakha didn't run away from the world to find peace. She found a way to fill her worldly life with incredible meaning and benefit for everyone around her. So her story kind of challenges us to ask, in our own lives, right now, with whatever we have, how can we do the same? Thanks for joining this explainer.